Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cel-Fi QUATRA 4000 Compass and Wave Pro webinar today. We're going to go ahead and get started. All right, just some nuts and bolts of what we're doing today. For those of you that have been on our webinars, this is old hat, but for the new folks, welcome. You can see in the Zoom platform, you have a Q&A button there at the bottom. Go ahead and press that if you have a question. And Emily and I will be answering these in the background. I'm Dean Richmond while Joe is talking. And if it's something that I think everybody would benefit from, we'll answer that in the public live. So it may not be the moment you ask it, but we'll try to get all your questions answered. Now, after we do send an email out with the webinar recorded about 48 hours later, so you can listen to it again. And if you want a PDF copy of the presentation, just contact your sales rep. This is only for partners getting that deck, but contact your sales rep if you want. If you are just a prospective and would like to become a partner, please contact us. So with that, go ahead and advance forward. So today's speakers, myself is on the right there. I'm Dean Richmond. I'm the Director of Marketing, and you've got our star of the show, Joe Smelzer, who is the VP of Product Marketing here. So Nextivity, if you don't know a ton about us, we are a cellular coverage solution that we have partnerships across 200 carriers and operators across 100 countries. So we're going to get rolling. Are you ready, Mr. Joe?
Ready to go.
All right, let's go.
All right, thanks, Dean. So yeah, this is Joe Schmelzer. Happy to be here. Thanks, everyone. Again, if you have questions and or comments and want to get that addressed here during the session, I'd be happy to do that. I hate for when these things feel like lectures versus conversations. So yeah, please feel free to hit us up with whatever questions you have. So what does Cel-Fi do? We do great cellular coverage. That's really it. That's our focus, is cellular coverage. And Cel-Fi by Nextivity, we do see some confusion between people out there wondering what is Cel-Fi versus Nextivity. Cel-Fi is our product brand and Nextivity is the company. Okay. So how do we do stuff? We are headquartered in San Diego, California. We have offices globally. We are a soup to nuts product company. I like to think we're actually the most comprehensive product company that that in our space for sure. Everything we do starts at the bottom with our chipset. We're currently shipping our 4th generation chipset, and we're working on our 5th generation. We have firmware development. We build radios. We have in-house antenna development, mechanical and industrial design, all done in-house. We have an applications team. We do iOS and Android apps in-house, and we also have a cloud team. We have our cloud is based on Microsoft Azure IoT. We've been SOC 2 certified. We're also GDPR and several other, we're compliant with all of the global privacy requirements. So we take that very seriously with our cloud services. And the other thing that we have that's sort of new for us is we have a service offering that is we're turning on this year. Current customers are already hearing about that. If you're a new customer, this is just another layer that we'll be adding to what we do here at Nextivity. All right, with that said, I'll continue here. So our business model, so we are the product manufacturer. We work exclusively through distribution. We have just a few distribution partners globally, and we're very tight on our channel model. We do not go around this. So we work through distribution. Our distributors service the VARs globally, and then the VARs go directly to the customers and the end users. And so if you're listening on this call and you're one of these, you kind of get a sense for who do you talk to. You can always call us up, even if you're an end customer, and we'll redirect you to the right location. Okay. So what we're talking about today is in-building wireless. We have a number of products globally that we ship. Today I'm focusing primarily on the Quattro and Go products, and Quattro 4000 specifically, as this is sort of an America's focus presentation today. But I did want to just briefly comment on the market in general and how we are positioning our products. So there's typically sort of four main products that we look at here for our in-building solution. And we sort of tier those and stratify those based on two vectors. One is the sort of square footage of your space, and the other one is the number of carriers that you need to support. So starting here at the bottom left, if you've got a space that's say under 50,000 square feet, our Go solution and a single carrier, say you've got Verizon or an issue with AT&T, or maybe you've got a corporate liable enterprise and you have a deal with your customer has a deal with AT&T or a deal with Verizon specifically, so you're focused on a single carrier coverage. This Go product is perfect in that context. It's single carrier, and it's really nice for a sort of a point style solution. And then, so the way we work with our smaller spaces, say under 50,000 square feet, is if you have multiple carriers that you want to support, what our VARs and our partners do and end users is they can essentially layer these Go products in with each other. And so you can have a Go product per carrier. And a lot of our customers will do this. They'll mount, say, 4 Goes on the wall, one for each carrier. And now you have a really compelling 4 carrier solution for a smaller footprint. Now, when you get above the smaller footprint stuff, say, anything really above 50,000 square feet is kind of where we draw the line. A lot of these lines are fuzzy. So, it depends on what's going on the site and what the needs are. All of our products sort of play nice with each other. So we have some mix and match solutions on the ground, and our integrators can get pretty creative about how they layer these things together, and they all play very friendly with each other. So you can get creative. But above 50,000 square feet for us is what I'm calling the Quattro zone. This is where we've called this the middle prize or the enterprise space. Anything above 50,000 square feet is where the Quattro product starts making a lot more sense. Now, on the Quattro product family, we have three product options. You can see them on the left there. The Quattro 1000 is a single carrier product. The Quattro 2000 is a 2 carrier product. And what we'll focus on today is the Quattro 4000, which is our 4 carrier product. So what I'm showing you here is if you've got a single carrier requirement in a space that's, say, 200,000, 300,000 square feet, or as large as you want to go, then the Quattro 1000 is a really great solution. It's the most economically efficient Quattro in the family. Being single carrier, it's the most cost effective. It's a very nice targeted solution for a single carrier environment. Also, this product supports MIMO. So if you've got a customer looking for MIMO, then this product is perfect for you. If you get into a 2 carrier requirement, particularly in business in the Americas, in the US specifically, we see a lot of customers that are looking for AT&T and Verizon sort of as the leaders in the enterprise space today. A lot of, about 85%, I think, is what we say of the enterprises are using AT&T and Verizon. T-Mobile is certainly targeting the enterprise now. They've got some really great enterprise programs that they're rolling out, like T-Mobile for Business and some other things. So these dynamics could change, but right now in a 2 carrier environment, the Quattro 2000 is a really nice solution. You can get an AT&T and Verizon model, or you can get a T-Mobile and Sprint version, and just depending on what your needs are on the ground. So you can put a real nice focused solution in there. Now, if you get into a 3 or 4 carrier requirement, This is where the Quattro 4000 shines. This is why we built the product. Many of our customers are looking for all the carriers to be covered, and so this was was the genesis of this product. So this is where the Quattro 4000 is really working well for us in the 3 and 4 carrier context. Okay. So what is the product? I hate to read from the slides, but I'll do that just a little bit. It's an interesting product. There's nothing like it in the market. You may be familiar, those of you out there who are familiar with the DAS product concept, you probably understand an active fiber DAS. You know what those are. Corning and CommScope and a number of competitors make a really nice active DAS. Typically, they're based on fiber distribution technologies. And then the other side, you have your passive DAS products, which are, essentially they're a BDA or a bidirectional amplifier that is taking a signal and putting it out through coax. So what we have is sort of a hybrid combination of both of those concepts so we call ourselves an active DAS hybrid. We can take in an off-air signal, common, similar to the BDA or passive DAS model, but then we digitize it and we can distribute our signal digitally over category cable, similar to the active DAS model. So we consider ourselves to be a hybrid in that regard. There are 2 models of the Quattro 4000, the 4000 and the 4000i. I'll talk a little bit more about this more later. The Quattro 4000 is a Part 20 compliant product, and the 4000i is a Part 90 compliant product. Other than that, the features and functionality are mostly identical. There's some difference.
Joe?
Yeah.
I actually have a few questions for you.
Okay.
You just hit Part 90, Part 20. They're asking just definition. What is Part 90 versus Part 20?
Sure. Let me table that. I have a couple slides later. We'll talk more about that, and I'll take a note here, and we'll talk about what the differences are.
Perfect. I knew you're covering a little later.
Yeah.
I've got 3 quick questions. We've
Okay.
got about 6 that we're dealing with right now, and a couple I'll pepper throughout. Okay. So, you stated at the beginning this is a U.S. Based presentation. We've got people here from other countries. And wanting to make sure that this kind of deck or this presentation actually could apply elsewhere, but Quattro 4000 is a US-based solution, but these other Quattros and Go's and even Solos that aren't being mentioned here are actually available in the other regions that would be solving the same problem. Yeah,
that's a good point. Good point, Dean. The Quattro 1000 specifically, we have variations available globally. So you just kind of have to check. We have about, 4 or 5 different versions of the Quattro 1000, and those are essentially different band combinations. So you just kind of have to look at what bands you have on the ground at your site, and then select the appropriate Quattro 1000 for that, and Go as well.
And then the Go itself, it's great for multiple, and I think you went over that a little bit. But with the use of combiners, there's some mathematical loss there. Mm-hmm. I know we've covered that in other webinars, but do you want to mention that? Talk about that a little bit.
Well, what do you mean specifically?
So they just want, I guess, clarification and assurance that we understand the math of loss if you do use multiple Go's and then combiners and splitters.
Yeah, sure. It's kind of a different topic. It's a little bit more technical. Somebody out there clearly has some technical understanding. So the Go product, really, if you're familiar with the BDA technology platform, where you have an input signal and an output signal, And essentially what the product is doing is, what our product is doing is we're cleaning up the signal and boosting it. Now, typically when we have a Go style installation, you would want an independent donor antenna per Go. And that will assure you that you have the most power possible available to the donor port. I know we're getting a little bit in the weeds here, but you'd want an independent donor antenna and for each Go. Now, if you have really strong and a high quality signal at the donor site, and you can aim your antenna in a single direction, then you could potentially use a splitter and feed multiple Goes with a single donor. But that sort of depends on what's happening at the site. And of course, you do have every time you split the power, it'll be you'll be taking a hit on your signal strength.
Yep, I think that answers his question, and if it doesn't, they can always follow up with us for more.
Yep.
And then you're showing 4,000 and 4,000i here, and so there was questions around the 23 dBm and 16 dBm. Is that for 4,000 or is it for 4,000i? Is it for both? And then when is this available, the Part 90 version available for sale?
Yeah. Okay, good question. So the uplink and downlink power is equivalent on the 4,000 and 4,000i. So those are the same. And then the 4,000i we expect to be in market roughly April. So we're producing in the factory in March, and it should show up in distribution in April. Okay. So moving on, Quattro 4000. Like we said, it's a 4-carrier product. It has support for AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and Sprint, and it will relay 2 bands per operator. You'll notice if you look at the top of this, there are 4 independent donor ports, which is really nice. You can have independent antennas per operator. You can aim the antennas specifically as needed to optimize your donor signal, or you could even have a mix of input signals. Let's say you've got an AT&T small cell, and then you want to take your Verizon signal off air. This product will support that as well. So you can kind of mix and match your donor signals depending on what your requirements are at the site. And then we're showing here the network unit. I'll show you the coverage unit a little bit later. But all of the signals from the 4 carriers are all integrated, and then we distribute them digitally out to the remote unit, and then they're retransmitted as a single signal at our coverage unit. They're all combined. We have the strongest gain in the universe at 100 dB in our class of products. We're able to achieve this because because we build our own chipset, so we're able to really tailor and design our algorithms and our technology to maintain network safety even at 100 dB of gain. And that's been battle tested for the last 10 to 12 years on, as Dean mentioned, almost 200 networks globally. So we stand behind all of this. This product will relay 140 megahertz of bandwidth, so you can have 6 20 megahertz channels and 2 10 megahertz channels. That's a lot of bandwidth, a lot of throughput. This product supports up to 6 coverage units. Our Quattro 1000 and 2000 support up to 4, so this is a little bit of an improvement there. And again, we distribute from the NU to the CU over category cable. And so for us, the minimum is Cat 5e, but you can also use Cat 6 or Cat 7 or whatever you happen to be standardized around. One quick comment here. We do use 2 category cables per CU, so that's a little bit new. So two category cables for each CU. You'll notice on the top they're N-type RF connectors, so they're super rugged and heavy duty. You can put your LMR or 400 or Heliax cable into this thing, and you're not going to snap the connectors off. That's some of the improvements we've made on this model. This has an internal modem. I'll talk a little bit more about our service plan, but every single NU that we ship contains a modem internally and an active SIM. So it's actually, they're connected to the internet and ready to talk to our servers and our support team. And that's something I'll get into a little more detail later, but it's part of the value proposition for us. You can run up to 100 meters distance between the NU and the CU. If you put a QRE in the middle, you can extend that distance to 200 meters. Now, a little sneak preview here. We've done some additional studies on the distances here with higher grade and higher gauge category cable. Excuse me one second, I just drink of water here. Sorry, just fighting allergies a little bit. Yeah, so we have, with higher grade category cables, you're able to extend that distance beyond 100 meters. 23 dBm and 16 dBm power respectively on the uplink and downlink. And then we also have some diagnostics that we can run from the NU so that you can sort of assess the viability of your physical connection there. Okay. Okay, so some of the new items, new things that we're shipping with Quattro 4000, you may not have seen yet. On the far left is what we call our blade antenna. This antenna ships inside of every CU box. It's what you would use on in our quick install model, where you literally attach this antenna to the CU's RF output, and now you essentially have an active unit and an omnidirectional antenna there. The second one over is our new LPDAR antenna, which is, if you're familiar with our first version, this is very similar. The main addition on this one is that we cover down to T-Mobile's band 71, which is down to 617 megahertz. So this is a little bit wider frequency LPDA antenna than our initial one. And then the third over is our new low profile antenna. Our original Omni Dome antenna is sort of more of a volumetric three-dimensional look. This is sort of a flat dish style, as you can see, lower profile. Some of our customers are very sensitive to what the ceiling looks like with these antennas, so we're trying to minimize that footprint as much as possible. And then the last unit on the right is our new Quattro 4000 range extender. Just one note, the Quattro 4000 range extender, or QRE, is different than the 1000 and 2000, so they're not interchangeable. If you're using the range extenders with the Quattro 4000, you have to get this specific QRE. Okay. So I said I'd talk a little bit about part 20 versus part 90. The main difference from a product standpoint is that the part 20 version, or the Quattro 4000, supports the bands you can see. I won't read them off. The 4000i as a part 90 product supports some additional bands there. Primarily you get band 26, 30, 41, and 71 with part 90. Now, what does this really mean? So our part 20 products have what is called blanket consent. And what that means is the industry a few years ago got together, the OEMs, the product companies, the carriers, and the FCC specifically, sort of all got together and defined network safety requirements that would ensure that the products would be safe for people and also safe for the networks. And products that can meet those specifications, sorry, dealing with allergies here. So products that can meet those network protection requirements can be certified under part 20. And what that really means is that they can be purchased and deployed sort of by end users same day. You don't have to, you don't need any kind of a retransmission agreement with the network operators for Part 20 products. One thing you have to do is register with the carrier. Each carrier has a website that you can just, it's a public website you can go to and publicly register. It's very simple. It takes like 1 minute if you want to do that. Now the Part 90 products are different in that they require a carrier retransmission agreement. And what that really means is, so the carriers, of course, this is all licensed spectrum. The carriers own that spectrum and they control that spectrum. And if you want to deploy a signal booster or a repeater under Part 90 rules, you have to have permission from the network operator for retransmitting those bands. And so they have a process for doing that. Each carrier is different. It can be just to be transparent here. It can be quite an onerous process. Many of our partners, I'd say most of our partners are sort of standardized around the Part 20 process because it's much simpler. But we do have a number of companies that are familiar with the Part 90 process. They have established channels with the carriers in terms of getting these retransmission agreements in place, and they can go forward there. So just kind of depends on what your business models are and what your use cases are. Both products are great. Both products support all 4 carriers. If you need some of those extra bands that you can see on the Part 90 version, then you've got to go with that Part 90 product and then get those retransmission agreements in place. So, for example, in Texas, AT&T uses band 30 quite a bit. So let's say you've got a customer deploying in in Texas, and you're concerned about using AT&T's band 30, then you probably need to go with the Part 90 product, and then get your retransmission agreement from AT&T in place.
Okay, Mr. Joe, I thought we could break here and give a barrage of questions again. So that low profile antenna you showed, the question is, does it support T-Mobile's new 600 band?
Oops.
And I know the answer.
Yeah, it does. It does.
The answer is
yeah.
Yes.
It does. And so that's a great question. So one thing about the Quattro 4000 is the frequency range is our widest frequency range yet. We go from 617 megahertz all the way up to 2700 megahertz so far. And so all the products that you're looking here on the screen now, all of these support all of those wider frequency ranges.
Now I got another question, and there is one antenna that is not pictured in those 4 antennas.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is, does the 4000 need a separate GPS antenna as well?
So we are not using GPS. The GPS functionality is not enabled yet. It's kind of something that we're looking at in the future. We wanted to make sure we built the hardware to support a GPS modem or to support the GPS signal from the existing cellular modem, but it's just not a feature that we've deployed. That's a future thing.
Right. Okay. And then with that range extender, so there was a question around the range extender on how many you need for each CU. Do you need 2 for each CU, or do you just need 1?
Great question. So it's 1. So the distance between the NU and CU is the standard distance is 100 meters using category cable. If you need to go farther than 100 meters, up to 200 meters, then you can insert a single QRE in the middle of that chain, and then you can extend your range. One other comment about the QRE is you don't need power, so it's super convenient. Let's say you've got to put it in the plenum space or some other place where you don't have power. You're fine. You don't need power. You just have to plug in the Ethernet cable to it, and off you go. All right. Anything else, Dean? Question side.
And I guess there's a few technical questions. I don't know if we want to do live, or if you
maybe let's hold, and if we have a little
right.
time at the end, we can go
All right.
through. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about Quattro 4000. I want to talk you through how the Quattro 4000 works. So we're going to build this up a little bit. This is a simplified view. Please don't hit me up with my illustration accuracy, and just take that for what it is. So you start, when looking at an entire system, we start with the donor signal. Now, with the Quattro 4000, in fact, you can use a small cell as your donor, or you can use off-air, or you can use a combination of both. There's an RF connection to the NU, so you know, an output from an antenna or output from a small cell can plug directly into the network unit here, as you see. Now on the top, there are 4 independent donor ports. So you can use all 4, or you can use 3, or you can use 1. You can do whatever you want in terms of your input signal. But each carrier has assigned one of these ports. Also, I wanted to mention that this is where you apply power. So all of our coverage units are powered over Ethernet. You don't need power anywhere else in the system. You just need your power to come in right here through the head end. All right, now once you have your signal source defined, you would distribute the signal over the category cable. As I mentioned, you can get up to 100 meters with Cat5e. The CU that you're looking at there, our coverage unit, is powered over Ethernet, so it's super convenient for installation. You don't have to go figure out what you're going to do about power. It'll power up just with the category cables. Okay. One other important difference is with the Quattro 4000, you get up to 6 coverage units per NU. And, you know, we use sort of just using middle of the bell curve math. We say about 15,000 square feet or so per CU. So with a single Quattro 4000 solution, you could get up to say 75,000 square feet or even more with just one NU, which is super convenient. Okay, I've mentioned that you have 2 category cables per CU, and I'm showing you how they connect here on the NU. So they're paired. The top and bottom of each of these RJ45 connectors is how you would extend the cables out to the CUs. If you want to use a QRE, if your requirement is for a little bit of a larger space, then put the QRE in for each CU and go up to 200 meters. All right, we have a couple different ways that we talk about our installation. One way we talk about is the quick install. And as you can see here on the top of the CU, there's our blade antenna. You can, this blade antenna is included in every box. Every CU box has this. So if you're interested in the quick install, simply screw this antenna onto the top of the RF port on the CU, and now you have a radiating element there, and you're covering your entire space from that single point. If you have a different sort of a requirement or a more complex space, maybe it's not a big square or a big cube, you've got something long and skinny, or many of our buildings are U-shaped or L-shaped, and you want to extend a DAS field out with antennas, then you can also do that. Just connect a cable to the RF port, and now you can run your server antennas and create a DAS field. And so we have both of these models are supported. If you're an IB Wave company, or a little bit on the sophisticated side, we do offer VEX files for all of our components, and we have templates as well. And we also have IB Wave level 3 certified designers on our staff who can provide some support if you need it. But so if you want to have a complicated DAS style install, we can support that, or you can just go with the quick install. Both are absolutely fine depending on what your needs are. What's new for this year with the Quattro 4000 is as I mentioned before, every Quattro NU ships with an active SIM and a modem inside. And what that allows us to do is it allows the NU to reach out into our cloud and into our portal. I won't call it a NOC. That's a little bit too much, but we We do have a staff team here that is that will help commission the systems and help you make sure that you have the best quality installation possible. You know, there are little tweaks and little things that we know about the product and that our technicians have learned over time to help you get the best possible customer experiences. And by the ability for us to be able to monitor and look at some of the metrics of these systems helps us do that. The first year is included with the program, and then subsequent years are optional. You can, for $300 per NU, you can re-up, or you can opt out, whatever is appropriate for you. Okay. I wanted to also hit on Compass and Wave Pro. These are two new things that we've recently launched, and they're integral to the Quattro 4000 as well. And so what you're looking at on the screen here is, on the left is our Compass product, and then on the right is what we call Wave Pro, which is our application, mobile app that we've designed. The mobile app, the Wave Pro app, is essentially the user interface for Compass, and so these things are used together. The Compass itself really doesn't have any interface at all. You have to use this Wave Pro app, which is available for download for free. Now, the entire point of this entire system here, Compass and Wave Pro, is not because we want to be in the site survey business or the test business. It is because we understand that if you have the best possible donor signal input into the system, you're going to have the best possible installation, and then you'll have a happy customer. So our entire objective here with the Compass and Wave Pro product is really to facilitate your installation, to help you optimize the installation, and then we'll continue to evolve the software and the product itself into new experiences and new applications that will be driven through this. We're not trying to be a general purpose network analyzer. It's of course not a signal booster, and it's definitely not a Compass. So again, I know some of you on the phone call have probably used this product already. Some of you are new to it, but really think of it as a peripheral or an ancillary device for Quattro and for other Cel-Fi products as well, but really specific to Quattro to help install and optimize these products. Okay, just a couple little details. One of the things that the Compass does is you can generate a signal report, and the idea here is that, as you know, there are four donor ports to the Quattro 4000, 4 carriers. And so what you can do is you can go out to wherever your donor signal location is going to be, and you can run a signal report. That signal report will tell you the quality of your donor for that carrier at that point. And then you can sort of plan your installation and plan your donor signal around this reporting. Takes about 10 minutes to run a signal report. We have some software we're about to release in a couple weeks that'll take that 10 minutes down to 5 minutes, so 5 minutes or even less. So hopefully that'll result in happier users. The other thing that we really want to promote with Compass and Wave Pro is this idea of optimizing your antennas. So the antenna pointing feature is something that, if you're familiar with the 1000 and 2000, then you know how this works through our portal. This feature, antenna pointing on the Quattro 4000, runs through the app, and so you just literally point your antennas, run the test, and then you'll see that you get a score per position, and then you can fix your antenna pointing in whatever position makes the most sense for that. All right. I think at this point, it's sort of the end of my part of the presentation. Dean, I will turn it over to you. I think you have some things to talk about on the market side. Yeah.
Yeah, but before we do that, we've got some questions.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna rifle through a bunch of these, quite frankly. a lot of questions came up about this modem and the SIM.
Okay.
And so I'm going to rifle through those. So with that service agreement and the SIM, the question is, does that include the connectivity part of the agreement? And if so, what's the data and all that stuff that goes along with that? What are the rules behind that SIM agreement?
Yeah, so good question. Yes, it does include connectivity. So we provide the SIM, we provide the service, we provide the user doesn't have to do anything additional to take advantage of that. We in the terms that you accept when you purchase the product, we do reserve the right to turn the SIM off if we think it's being abused. I mean, obviously the SIM could be removed and used in something else, so we don't want to support that. But just to answer the question, yes, the connectivity and service is included in the agreement.
So when it comes time after the first year, is that agreement with Nextivity or is it with the distributor?
It is with Nextivity.
Okay. And right now on that, on the antenna for that, did you cover that antenna in a way that they want to understand that a little bit better?
The modem antenna?
Yeah, the modem antenna.
Yeah. Okay. So good. Let me go to a previous slide here.
Yeah, you showed a picture of it in the left corner.
I don't know if you can see
very early
my pointer. Let me. Sorry, let's see. We'll use this one. Okay. So if you look at this slide here, you'll see there's two SMA connectors in the middle of the top of the NU. One of the connectors is for GPS, as I mentioned earlier, and we're not using that. Both of these ports are labeled, so it will be obvious to you which one is for GPS and which one is for modem. But what you do with this with the modem antenna, and we include a small whip modem antenna in every NU box. So what you would do is just take that antenna out and screw it onto this SMA connector there on the top. Now, if for whatever reason you don't have a sufficient signal wherever you've mounted that NU for the modem, then you can always, just like you would do with your typical donor signal, you can run a cable out to an exterior modem antenna and do it that way. But what we found is most of our installs are in locations where they get just a sufficient amount of signal to the modem antenna. We're not trying to do massive amounts of data or throughput there. So as long as we can just get some signaling, it's more of an IoT style connection that we need for that. So you don't need a fantastic connection there for the modem antenna.
So continuing on the train for around this SIM,
okay.
What carriers can you activate this with, and does the modem itself, does that work in any environment? And it was specifically asked around New York-based bands.
Yeah. So our end users don't have to concern themselves at all with the service agreement. What we have done is we have a global service agreement with a service provider. So we have effectively what we have is global roaming. So anywhere you could deploy the Quattro 4000, we have a service agreement, and so you should be able to connect. And I mean, what I should say is the modem will connect. You really don't have to do anything as a user. It will, when the unit powers up, it will connect, and there's no additional thought or service or any kind of additional agreement needed. So yes, New York would be fine.
Okay. Now now I'm going to get into some of the antenna stuff that you covered. And I said it gets, some of this is more on the technical side, but not too heavy. So you went over that blade antenna, and our partner was looking at the IB Wave VEX files, and obviously we just had that webinar a couple weeks ago. Is the blade antenna contemplated in those designs? Do you know? Because it says it currently has no models for the blade antennas.
Yeah, so that's a great point. We are putting all of these components into the IB Wave database, the component database. I was under the impression that this antenna was already done, but it may still be in process in terms of getting installed there.
There are plans for it.
Yeah, for sure. So just to on the Quattro 1000 and 2000, we're fully complete with all the IB Wave database modeling. The Quattro 4000 stuff should be done or getting done soon for some of these components. The relative ones.
So you've got the LPDA right there, front and center right now, and there's a question. There's 4 different donor ports on this. Can you just combine them all and just use one donor source, or what is really the best way to do this?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it really depends on what your donor signals look like and what you're trying to do. A lot of times the carriers will co-locate their base stations, their towers, and in that case you could theoretically pick up multiple carriers from a single direction. Aiming your antenna in a single direction at a single tower, you could pick up multiple carriers. And so if you have a strong, high quality signal source, you could definitely use a combiner and then just use a single donor antenna and then split that into your RF ports. Totally doable. Many of our partners do that. If you don't have, if your carriers are located in different directions around your donor site, then you've got to aim those antennas in different directions. And so you would use multiple antennas. Now I'm showing our large LPDA antenna, which is kind of it's our highest performance donor antenna. We also have a smaller version of this antenna. It's about 1/3 the cost and about 1/3 the size. I haven't launched it yet, but I'm getting ready to launch it probably next month. So it'll be sort of a lower performing LPDA antenna option as well. It's similar to our current wideband directional antenna that you can find on our website. But that's not quite launched yet. It'll be launched soon.
All right. So more, again, on the technical side, and some of these you've already covered that GPS port and that we're not using it right now. And I think you said there's future plans. Is there really any use for it right now?
No, it's totally inactive today.
All right. And then one of our partners, our distributors, asked that we do a clarification. The SMA connector on the compass is reverse polarity. So please point out to the class that standard SMA and N adapters won't work.
So good point. The SMA connectors on top of the compass are reverse polarity. So you can't use a standard antenna with it, but we do supply the whip antennas with the product. So if you buy the product, you get whip antennas that are reverse polarity, and we also put a couple pigtails in the kit, so that let's say you want to test your donor antenna on the roof of your building, so you can run the antenna to a coax cable and then just attach our pigtail to that cable and then to the compass itself. So we've tried to make it as simple as possible for the variety of install use cases.
And just a clarification point, the 4000, unlike the 1000 and 2000, does not have an internal antenna and does need either the whip antenna or a passive antenna.
Yes.
Connected.
Yep. Good point.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've got to attach either the included blade antenna or put a DAS field onto the CU.
This is a power question on the NU, whether it's AC or DC powered.
AC, and we provide the power cord and brick.
So we have several questions on this, and I know we talked about this. First, the guys that aren't used to retransmission agreements, there is a link that's out there where they can go. I don't think we have that on our support page yet, but when the product is live, we will. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Kind of point them in a direction.
Yeah, because
it's regional. It's a regional.
It's regional. Not only does every carrier have their own process for retransmission agreements, but then you also see regional differences within a single carrier for how they do retransmission agreements. For example, T-Mobile has, I think, 8 different regions nationally, and the way you would engage with each region may be slightly different, and in some sense depends on the individuals in those organizations. So the retransmission part of this is very complicated. Most of our customers are actually, standardized around Part 20 products, so they don't have to get involved in this at all. Where we do have some other customers that are familiar with Part 90 products and have already established those retransmission agreement channels. It's something for Nextivity. Just to be completely transparent with this, our intention is sort of remain at arm's length when it comes to these agreements, because we just don't have the boots on the ground with every carrier in every region inside of these departments to really facilitate that, and we really rely on our channel partners specifically in this area. And those partners that are sort of already familiar with it, it's no big deal. But if you are new to the Part 90 process, then it's, it can be quite onerous and cumbersome. So you just have to prepare yourself for a very long journey.
All right. So I think for now, I'm going to ask the last question, and this is a question, of course, you and I both anticipated. I got to ask a couple times here. Is around support for 5G with this product, and where we are with 5G with this product, and what would you like to hit here?
Yeah, great. No, so a lot of folks are asking us about 5G and future proofing, and this product is going to be fantastic when it comes to 5G in the sub 6 gigahertz context. All of these carriers that we're supporting here, AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, Sprint, maybe not so much Sprint, as they're merging now with T-Mobile. They have different plans, but all the carriers sort of below, say, 3.5 gig have plans to refarm their 4G spectrum into 5G. And so we can definitely support that with this product. And so when you start to see carriers deploying 5G, for example, AT&T is talking, or they're actually deploying 5G now on band 5, which is 850 megahertz. We will have software updates for this product that will allow us to support those 5G bands for the existing frequencies that we support. So it'll be a really nice feature over the years as these bands migrate to 5G. The Quattro 4000 product will be able to migrate with it.
Yeah, and we will have an announcement coming soon, more publicly on that, so stay tuned. With that, I'm going to transition into kind of some field updates. This is kind of one that we're proud of. We have won the Big Innovation Award right out of the gate with Quattro 4000. This was commercially available to our partners in December. And right at the first of the year, we submitted several use cases that, along with this award, and we got selected as the Big Innovation Award for Quattro 4000. So we're very happy about that. So starting the year off with the bang, if you remember last year, we had 10 awards. So it was a great year for us, and that see if we can repeat that with both Quattro 4000 and probably Solo as well in the European market as we expand across country to country with that product. So going to hit a couple of our partners have submitted what they've been doing with their product. They're excited. They like to tell good stories as well. Vast has submitted this one off to us about a healthcare facility. It's a long-term care facility that had an existing BDA passive DAS solution, and as the carriers are constantly upgrading their systems, what they noticed is their solution really didn't work in a lot of their spaces, or wasn't very good. Vast is fantastic at telling the story here, and they sent us their presentation that they are really using their pitches. And this shows one of the carriers, and I'm not going to show all of the carriers here, but it's a very similar story, and shows because of the building itself, it blocks signal, as we all know. Without any solution, you can see on the left that there is really no coverage in a big brick set of buildings, and this is multi-building, multi-story. But with the passive DAS BDA solution that was there, this was kind of the situation, and after they did their walk test of what it looked like. So using the same cabling, the same Omni antennas, just really replacing the heart of taking the BDA passive out and putting a Quattro 4000 in, you can see the difference. So this is your difference between a passive DAS BDA solution or a solution that is Quattro 4000 that is carrier specific. It's again like 4 individual systems in one, and really the results are quite amazing. So very impressive, and thank you, Vast, for submitting that to us. Next up is the education side. So the education world, especially with all the crazy things that are happening in today, has really begun to look at the need for cellular coverage in their buildings. If you have kids at school, I know in our schools here locally, they actually don't allow you to bring a PC or into the classroom anymore, but they do allow you to bring your phone. So you can be looking up different things, even doing classwork on your phone. To do that, you're going to have great cellular coverage. And obviously, in a public safety, and I'm not talking about for fire and police, I'm talking about actually for the students, you're going to have a cellular coverage solution in the school. So schools are investing in this, and one of our partners, YTech, who is really awesome, has deployed as well. And this is a multi-individual school, multi-building rather, not billion, I wish, sort of installation. So, and they needed something that was evergreen, and they really looked at what the solutions were available in the market, and this was the most evergreen, most attractive solution for them. So, next slide. Then we have the mixed use space, new construction. We had our partner Digitex rather, that needed a solution that went alongside a public safety install. They needed something for carrier and something they didn't have to wait around for. So they selected the Cel-Fi Quattro 4000 and they marveled at how quick the install process is in comparison to really other solutions that they've installed in the market, whether it's the passive dash side or even the higher end of the spectrum on more of your fiber-based solutions. So
yeah, Dean, just on the on the speed there, I think the systems arrived in their offices on a Monday and they were fully installed and running by Friday.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So to wrap the session up with the last slide here, our next webinar, several of you asked questions about FirstNet in this. Will this product do FirstNet? This is not a FirstNet band 14 solution. Quattro 4000 isn't. But Quattro Red is an ERC solution, which is a 7800 LMR based solution that also provides FirstNet cellular based coverage as well. We did an announcement that it's coming back at Mobile World Congress, that this is in development and just about ready. Well, at IWC, we will be launching it. If you'd like to see it, like to talk to us live, please send us an email. Joe and I will both be there. We'll be very excited to talk to you as we launch this thing in a more public way. And with that, any last words, Joe?
No, thanks, Dean.
All right, so we're 2 minutes after. I'm sorry we went a little bit late, and we were only able to answer roughly 33 of the questions, I believe. But appreciate all the questions that you asked. We will answer them, the rest of them offline. Thank you so much, and you have a wonderful day.